When Oliver's dog, Lucy, was diagnosed with terminal cancer, he began going on longer walks to help her enjoy life to its fullest until her final days. One day, after snapping a selfie together, the sunny day suddenly shifted to a colder, eerie atmosphere. When Oliver reviewed the photo, he was horrified to notice something unsettling in the background. Oliver had recently established a new habit. Every time he explored a new park, forest, or lake with Lucy, he made sure to take a selfie to capture the moment. He wanted to commemorate each adventure they had, but he also wanted to build a carousel of memories he could turn to after she passed. Unfortunately, the doctor's words had been final. The cancer had spread beyond the leg, and amputating the tumor-ridden limb would only give the poor dog a few more months to live. Oliver had been devastated by the news, but he had decided to make the most of the time left. And so here he was, walking through a forest so his best friend could enjoy the last few months of her life to the fullest. Oliver kneeled down on the forest floor, called Lucy to him, and quickly snapped a picture. "They're really cute," he thought. He put his phone back in his pocket and kept following his dog, who was running up and down among the trees on her three wobbly legs. It was a gorgeous day, and the soothing sound of birdsong momentarily helped Oliver forget that his faithful companion was nearing the end of her journey. Lucy had been his rock, standing by his side when his wife had left and his family had drifted apart. Now he couldn't imagine what life would be like without her. To distract himself from the wave of sadness creeping in, Oliver reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and revisited their latest selfie. Lucy always looked goofy in pictures and never failed to make him smile. But this time, the photo didn't bring Oliver any comfort. Instead, the man turned pale after seeing the picture, and a chill ran down his spine as he slowly looked up from the screen. At that very moment, an eerie silence settled over the forest. The usual chirping of birds and buzzing of insects had ceased, leaving only the sound of their footsteps. This unexpected quietness made Oliver even more uneasy, and he slowly glanced around, searching for any signs of danger. Was the mysterious presence in the photo real? Was he just seeing things that weren't there? Suddenly, Lucy began barking at a bush a few feet from them. The way her tail spiked up made Oliver realize she had perceived a threat. His mind raced, trying to recall if there had been any tales of dangerous creatures in the area. This was a quiet part of the forest, and he knew for a fact that families often came here for picnics. Wild animals usually steered clear of this side of the woods, so he steadied himself and took a deep breath, determined not to let his fear overwhelm him. But as they stood still, with Lucy still suspiciously checking out the bushes, the sky began to darken, and a sudden gust of wind swept through the forest, rustling the leaves on the trees. Oliver's heart pounded rapidly. Was his imagination running wild, or was there genuinely something lurking out there? Noticing his unease, Lucy let out a soft whine and pressed against his leg for reassurance. Gathering his courage, Oliver turned to look again but found nothing unusual. Still, Lucy occasionally barked, her eyes unwaveringly fixed on the same spot. By this time, Oliver knew they had to get out of the forest as soon as possible. The sense of being watched weighed heavily on his mind as he clamped the leash on Lucy's collar, and they began to make their way out of the forest. He couldn't shake the feeling that the forest itself was alive and observing their every move. His dog's persistent barking only added to his growing unease. Oliver hastened his steps, hoping to escape the unknown presence. He was mindful of the fact that Lucy only had 3 legs and couldn't run very fast. However, her barking increased his anxiety as she frequently looked back, growling at something unseen. Oliver's pace quickened even further. He wanted to leave the forest before the mysterious being caught up with them. Suddenly, Lucy tugged sharply on her leash, bringing Oliver to a halt. She sniffed the air with focus, her ears standing alert as she caught an unfamiliar scent. Oliver observed her closely, but despite her efforts, Lucy couldn't seem to lock onto a clear trail. With a gentle pull on her leash, he encouraged her to move forward, and they resumed their walk. But just as they began to feel they were approaching safety, they stumbled upon a large footprint imprinted in the dirt, blocking their path. The rain, from the night before had preserved the mark perfectly, suggesting they were indeed being followed by something unknown. Oliver's heart pounded in his chest as he examined the footprint. It was massive, unlike anything he had ever seen before. The size and depth of the print suggested a creature of enormous proportions, leaving him both fascinated and terrified. A chill ran down his spine as he sprinted towards the safety of his hatchback as fast as he could, tugging on his dog's leash. Lucy barked continuously, and Oliver could now hear heavy footsteps behind them. The footsteps echoed through the forest, growing louder simultaneously with Oliver's racing heartbeat. He knew he had to reach his car quickly, or risk coming face to face with whatever was pursuing them. After about 10 minutes of exhausting, adrenaline-fueled running, Oliver finally saw his SUV in the distance. Relief washed over him, thinking they were now safe. However, an unexpected turn of events soon occurred. Lucy suddenly pulled hard on her leash in the opposite direction, breaking free from his grasp. Oliver let out a scream, his heart sinking as he watched his dog bolt away, barking loudly. He pleaded for her to return, but she continued running into the forest. Oliver couldn't bear the thought of leaving Lucy behind. He was determined to find her before it was too late. Despite her limited time left, he wouldn't allow an unknown creature to cut her life even shorter. Exhaustion gave way to resolve as Oliver dove back into the forest, following Lucy's trail. Her barking echoed through the trees, serving as his guide while he pushed through dense underbrush. Determined to catch up to his loyal companion, he forged ahead. When he pushed through dense foliage, he saw her standing still, barking at a row of dense bushes. Oliver approached cautiously, questioning why Lucy was acting so erratically. The intensity of her barking increased as Oliver drew nearer. His heart raced as he strained to see what had captured his dog's attention. His thoughts raced with possibilities. A wild animal, another person, or perhaps the unknown figure from earlier. As Oliver neared his dog, he was met with a terrifying sight. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. From the bushes emerged a massive bear, its growl echoing through the stillness. Oliver instinctively stepped back in fear as the bear advanced, swiping the air with its powerful paws in a threatening display. There it was, the very creature he had glimpsed in the selfie with Lucy. It hadn't been a trick of his imagination after all. Oliver's mind raced as he tried to assess the situation. He had never been so close to a bear before, and he knew he needed to remain calm to avoid provoking the animal. Lucy, however, seemed undeterred. Despite the danger, she appeared unfazed by the bear's presence. She stood her ground, staring at the massive creature. Oliver's heart suddenly swelled with pride as he watched his dog face the bear with unwavering courage. She was just a pup with 3 legs, yet she would give her life before any harm came to her human. But the same could be said for him. Oliver tried to think of a way to defuse the situation without putting himself or Lucy in further danger. He attempted to lure the dog away from the bear, but she remained defiant and even inched closer to the dangerous animal. By this point, Lucy was nearly on top of the bear's feet while Oliver managed to distance himself from the scene. The whole situation was becoming increasingly perilous. The pride Oliver felt for his loyal dog quickly dissolved into overwhelming fear. His voice shook as he called out to Lucy, desperately trying to lure her back, but she stood her ground. Then something unexpected occurred. Oliver was astonished by Lucy's courage as he watched her approach the bear and lick it affectionately, as if greeting an old friend. At first, Oliver braced himself, fearing the bear would lash out, but instead, its aggressive posture softened, revealing a peaceful, almost sorrowful expression. This unexpected turn of events puzzled Oliver. Lucy's friendly approach seemed to calm the bear, and he watched in amusement as the once aggressive creature softened. Then it took a step back and another one, and to his surprise, Lucy inched forward. As the bear and the dog began to walk away, they looked back at Oliver as if they wanted him to follow them. He was still trying to get Lucy to come back to him, but he was starting to realize that she wouldn't follow him to the car. She seemed to have something more important to do. So Oliver cautiously followed, unsure of where they were leading him. The two animals guided him through the forest for about 15 minutes. His apprehension grew as he followed the animals deeper into the woods. The path they followed felt strangely surreal, winding through unfamiliar terrain Oliver had never ventured into before. Despite his fear, his curiosity drove him forward as he placed his trust in Lucy's instincts to lead the way. Throughout the journey, both the bear and Lucy kept constant communication with him, growling or barking occasionally to ensure he stayed close. Finally, they emerged from the woods to find a rustic cabin nestled among the trees. The worn appearance suggested it hadn't been used in years. The sight intrigued Oliver. The bear seemed familiar with the area, moving with a sense of purpose as it approached the cabin. Lucy followed. Oliver hesitated but then followed the animals into the cabin. He couldn't leave the dog alone with the bear. The interior of the cabin was almost completely vacant, except for a broken chair in the corner and a door without hinges. The air was filled with the foul smell of rotting fish. Oliver's nose wrinkled at the pungent odor. He tried to imagine the cabin's former occupants and their lives, but his focus quickly returned to the present as Lucy and the bear moved deeper into the cabin. Oliver quickly noticed the source of the smell. It was half-eaten fish heads hidden among nesting material. It became apparent that this was the bear's den. As he pulled a face at the sight and smell, he realized that he was now standing all alone, the room. Despite the small size of the cabin, Lucy and the bear were suddenly nowhere in sight. Oliver called out for Lucy, his voice echoing in the quiet space, and heard a sharp bark from beyond a nearby doorway. Realizing where he needed to go but unsure of what awaited him, he stepped carefully into the adjacent room. There, in the center, he saw Lucy and the bear sitting side by side, their backs turned toward him as they gazed downward, emitting soft, mournful sounds. The peculiar scene left Oliver both puzzled and moved. It was evident that a profound connection existed between the two, and he observed them intently, striving to comprehend the bond they shared. Approaching carefully, Oliver planted himself next to the bear and heard a loud screech that sent shivers down his spine. The bear made a crying sound, seemingly in pain. Looking downward, Oliver saw a large hole with a deep pit below. The floorboards had collapsed right in the middle of the room, revealing what looked like an unfinished basement made of concrete and dirt. He squinted his eyes, trying to see into the dark pit. As his vision adjusted, he made out 3 tiny bear cubs trapped at the bottom, crying out for their mother. Oliver's heart broke for the stranded cubs, and in that moment he realized the true reason behind the bear's actions. She hadn't been trying to lure them into a trap. She was seeking help, leading them to her trapped family with a desperate hope they could save her babies. Oliver's thoughts raced as he began formulating a plan to rescue the cubs without putting anyone in danger. The pit was deep, its walls steep and slippery, leaving the cubs no chance of escaping on their own. But since there was concrete downstairs, it meant that someone had accessed that space in the past, and that meant there were stairs somewhere. He quickly called emergency services for assistance, explaining the situation and the urgency of rescuing the cubs. Then he went looking for the stairs. In a back room, he found the skeleton of what would have been a nice staircase and managed to lower himself down to the basement. As he descended, he spoke softly to the cubs, hoping to calm them and keep them still. To his surprise, the little bears seemed to sense he was there to help. They quieted down, their frightened eyes watching him. As he reached the bottom, he carefully picked up each cub, holding them close as he climbed the stairs back to safety. Once he reached the top, he gently placed the cubs beside the mother bear. She nuzzled her cubs lovingly, relieved to have them back. Oliver's heart warmed at the sight of the reunited family. As Oliver completed the rescue of the cubs, the emergency services team arrived at the cabin. They came equipped with medical supplies to check the cubs' health, and a tranquilizer gun prepared to subdue the mother bear if she showed aggression. However, the mother bear stayed calm, observing protectively, but appearing to trust the humans assisting her family. The animal rescue team moved quickly and skillfully, evaluating the cub's condition and administering the necessary treatments. After ensuring the cubs were safe and healthy, the team escorted the family to a nearby wildlife sanctuary, where a safe environment for the bears to recover would be provided before they eventually returned to their natural habitat. Oliver and Lucy watched as the animal rescue team and the bears made their way out of the forest. He couldn't help but feel a sense of pride for having played a part in saving the bears' lives. Lucy wagged her tail, clearly pleased with their adventure. Oliver knew they had made a positive impact on the lives of these wild creatures, and that made the whole experience even more special. Oliver thought back to the moment Lucy had shown such bravery when encountering the bear. He wondered what had allowed her to connect with a predator on such a deep level. Perhaps her gentle nature and empathy had touched the bear's heart, leading to the unlikely bond they shared. Oliver felt deeply grateful to have witnessed such a rare and extraordinary bond between two different species. As they made their way back to the SUV, the setting sun bathed the forest in a golden light, wrapping the day in a serene and magical glow. The events had been both intense and unexpected, yet Oliver couldn't help but feel immense gratitude for the experience. He had shared one of the most incredible moments of his life with Lucy, a memory he knew would stay with him forever, even after she was gone. The drive home was quiet, allowing Oliver time to reflect on the day's events. Lucy rested peacefully, in the back seat, her adventure-filled day finally coming to an end. In the days that followed, Oliver visited the wildlife sanctuary to check on the bears. Seeing the family thrive in their new environment brought a sense of closure to the unforgettable experience. He eventually came to terms with the fact that Lucy's journey would soon come to an end. He focused on making the most of the time they had left, creating beautiful memories and cherishing the special bond they shared. Lucy had been more than just a pet to Oliver, and he would forever keep her in his heart. Did you enjoy this story? Have you ever had similar experiences with your dog? How would you handle a challenging period like this one? Let us know in the comments below. If you like the story, please subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Lucy now lives forever in Oliver's heart. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.